Palworld has a setting that makes pals spawn in random locations. Sounds like a pretty fun way to mix things up, yeah? Oh, no we can't. No we can't. Nope, it is torture. You can barely take 2 steps out past the start without dying.
Something on me right now? Oh, there is an Incineram knocked. Yep, he will one-shot me, so that's cool.
And you can't get basic items like wool for armor, so you're stuck butt naked for a while.
It's risky, but I really need it.
And when you escape a near-death scenario, you usually run into an even deadlier pal.
Holy crap! Oh my god. Oh my god, and a predator. Holy...
So, when I challenged myself to complete Palworld Random mode on Hardcore, that's 1 life, I had no idea how difficult it would actually be. 2-hour egg timers and 1-time XP definitely did not help that. This challenge has bested me over and over. And if you want to experience that pain from a distance, you can check out my previous attempts. Every new Palworld update brings some kind of new powerful weapon or pal that makes all the previous content easier. With the Terraria crossover on its way, I knew I only had 1 final chance to accomplish my mission before everything changed. This is that story, my final attempt at Hardcore Random. In the random generator, you can't just start things off normally. There could be a hostile pal right outside the starting zone, and for me, that's exactly what happens. Reptile Christ to my left, Wumpo Botan off in the distance to the right, and a Fellbat right on top of me. I grabbed my free piece of wood and I started running for the small settlement with Fellbat hot on my tail. Then Incineram knocked on the hunt.
Something on me right now? Oh, there is an Incineram knocked. Yep, he will one-shot me, so that's cool. Let's see if he comes down here with me. So this is already fun.
I continued making my way down the river, narrowly avoiding every single hostile pal. And to my luck, every single one of these was hostile. And they all could have one-shot me, except that Dino-Song. There's not much you can do until you get wool, so the small settlement is my first destination. I used the beach and steered clear of all the hostiles. I had to patiently wait for the Serpent Terra and Shroomer to clear to continue on my route. At this point, Shroomers are still very hostile and very deadly. I grabbed the chest, but it didn't have enough gold to buy wool. Then I climbed up to this overlook to get a nice clean line down to the settlement. A Verdash is off in the distance, but a quick slide gets me down there fast enough. I fast traveled back to the start just to make sure I didn't get hit from behind. But I didn't have enough gold anyway to buy wool, so I'll have to come back. I like this spot back behind the starting point. It's safe from enemies, no raids can get to it, and it has a ton of stone and wood. And in this random mode, you can't always get your hands on a miner or a tree chopper right away, so having these nodes is really clutch. I got to stone punching, which is super grindy because I'm on 1-times. Then, once I got my Paldium fragment, I set up my base. I put down the basics, basic workbench, some storage, and I got the pickaxe and axe, and then a repair bench. I also got the common shield because you don't need wool for this. Usually in random mode, it's the first piece of armor that I'll get. And then an old bow, some starter spheres, and a pike. When nighttime hit, I made a torch to keep warm because dying from temperature in hardcore mode is extremely embarrassing, and that has happened to me before. But nighttime in this mode means that it's time to hunt. Most pals are sleepy, and it's the only way to safely traverse at this very early level. This is when I have to take the time to go find those early, much-needed pals that I'm looking for. I set out with no clothes to look for something, anything, and just past this sleepy Wumpo Botan, I found Foxsparks, a perfect early pal. There were no problems catching him. I continued on, carefully navigating the sleepy pals, and not much further I found Cativa, who will be my early handiworkers.
Starter set of Cativas, some handiworkers, and some miners. Oh, no we can't. No we can't. No we can't. Crap, dude, that sucks. That really sucks. I really needed those. In case you didn't see it, there's a shadow beak on my tail. So, yeah, that's why we're running.
Looks like luck is on my side so far. In my escape, I ran into another pack of Cativas. This time, the hostile bird nearby, Phalaris Aqua, instead of Shadowbeak, was sleeping, so I could actually get one. I snagged the 2, but the Phalaris was an early riser. I grabbed the chest because I still need more gold for that wool, then patiently waited for Phalaris to move out of the way so that I could fast travel home safely. A successful night hunt. I put my newly captured pals to work and I continued expanding my base. Going out hunting during the day is extremely dangerous, especially when I don't have any armor yet. So I'm taking the time to build out my base while I wait for nighttime. I got that done and then I patiently waited until night because I don't really have much else I can do.
All right, just waiting for that sun to turn to a moon. Just watch the moon rise until it happens. And we are in the clear, and we're cold.
The priority is still a wool pal. I can't buy wool yet, and I need more for a bed anyways, so I am looking for that. Any pal at this point that I can capture will do, because I also desperately need XP, and leveling up is so important early on. I worked my way down to some dino sums. These are still a little bit higher level than me, but because I had a Fox Sparks, I felt he could take them on, and I really needed a good wood chopper because I was already feeling the grind, so this was definitely worth the risk.
Get him with a couple of pokes, get more damage in, but there's that Shadow Beak. Okay, this is risky, but I really need it, and I don't have armor, so I can't really take much from him. This is risky. I'm gonna have to let Fox Sparks do it. I just gotta make sure he doesn't hit anything else. And I'm gonna try to dodge his attacks because another hit and it's gonna shred me now that I lost my armor. So hopefully Fox Sparks can get him. Just let him do the attack. Make sure he doesn't hit those Days Mew behind him. That could be risky. Yep, and I don't even need to. Awesome. All right, I'm not even gonna risk going for that other one.
Daylight was approaching. I needed to hurry back before things started waking up, but I just couldn't resist this low-level rush roar. These are the kind of risks that you do not want to be taking in hardcore mode, but fortunately I was able to get one, and then I booked it home to safety. The next day I was excited to see a Vixie and Kelpsie down below. Vixie is a nice early pal for those free spheres, but Kelpsie is a top priority because I need those pal fluids. But there was also a Faebreak warrior down there, and my heart sank.
It looks like that might be a Faebreak warrior right there. And that would explain why there's a bunch of... Watch, he's going to slaughter these Kelpsies. Nope, he's going to slaughter the Vixie. Oh my god. Yeah, it's a Faebreak warrior. So that's scary. We don't want to go down there at all. He'll one-shot me for sure. But look, of course, there's all this stuff. I need Cremis. Oh, you know what? I could probably get down. Oh, I don't have a glider. Never mind. There's no way I'm getting down there.
They are level 55, and literally one single bullet will murder me. And they are hyper-aggressive, shooting at everything and anything within range. Normally, that's my safe spot to farm pals, but with him down there, that zone is completely off limits if I want to stay alive. I fast traveled back to the small town to finally get some wool for clothes, but I still didn't have enough gold, so I had to sell a few things. I don't really have things yet, so I had to craft some spheres and sell those. And finally, I got myself my first set of armor. But a wool pal is still top priority. This early, it's still too dangerous to go out at night, so I continue expanding my base during the day and taking care of other tasks, until nightfall. I put up some berry farms. These I use for XP early on. Each berry cooked is 5 XP, and it's a good way to get early levels passively. Also, you need food, so it's a 2-for-1 type of thing. And since I have no watering pals, I have to do the job myself. But right across the gap in my backyard were 2 Celery. At my level, there still aren't very many water pals that I can actually get, so seeing these close to my base is a really big deal. I had to go after them. Also, I really need a glider. There were a couple hostiles down below. They should be far enough away though to be able to get that Celery safely. But just to play it extra safe, because they too would probably one-shot me, I waited until nightfall again. I climbed across the gap and then went after them.
Okay, we can get them. I really don't want to die to a Celery, and I don't want to lose a pal to a Celery. Okay, I thought I had him. We gotta be careful. Pull back Fox Sparks so he doesn't kill him on accident. Please get this one. All right, that's good. Got one. Oh, he's got Vampiric. Imagine that. Oh my god. Wow. That's so lucky. Okay, that's amazing because now I can start breeding that into pals so early on.
I was attempting to climb up through the ruins to take the fast travel back to my base, but I saw a Melpaca out in the front. I was desperately in need of these wool pals, so even though daylight was approaching and the level 59 Azure Mane was right there, I had to risk it. Unfortunately, a Petalia got caught in the crossfire, and she definitely would have killed me, so I had to take the fast travel back to base. My curiosity had me go right back out there. Sometimes the spawns change, sometimes they don't. It was my lucky day though. The Petalia was gone. The Azure Mane was replaced by a Vixie, but the Melpaca was still there. That's the best case scenario for me. Finally, my chance to get some wool pals. And then since it was out there, I got a couple Vixie too. I got my ranch set up, put Vixie and Melpack on it, then continued working on my berry farms, reorganizing my base and crafting the Celery's gloves while I wait for nighttime. I am still too underleveled to be going out very far away from my base in the day, and it will probably be that way until I get a flyer. When night came, I headed out on my hunt. Starting out down by the first fast travel point, I was going to run up to that starting zone and then just capture anything and everything low level on the way up there. Kelpsie, though, is still my #1 priority. I found more Cativas in the same spot as before, stocked up on some of those guys, and then a Cremis. I already have a wool pal, but now it's just about XP. I have to capture everything I can because XP grind is painful and it is just getting started. A Lift Monk was next. These guys are actually great early because they can do so many tasks, and when you can't always find the pals that you need, having these multitaskers early on is really nice. Then, as the day was approaching, it was time to head back home, and that was a very successful night hunt. And now that I had the appropriate pals to take care of my basic needs, I got more workstations set up for them. Got my crusher, a wood farm, and stone pit. I'm still not quite comfortable going out hunting during the day. My level is just too low. But this area close to my base had some low-level pals spawning that I could go after. Another Rushor and some Jolthog. There is also an egg spawn here, so I'll be regularly coming to grab these eggs so that I can get free XP for the hatch, and maybe something even better with a cool pal that I can't find. And then I went back to base to do some stuff until once again I was waiting for the safety of night. I got a daydream right around near the starting spot. There was a group of fuddlers, but I'm still a little too low level to go after 3 of them, so I bypassed those ones to get more fox sparks. These will help me cook more berries too, so that I can speed up those XP gains. I couldn't get anything else without risking it, and this group of nocturnal Tyrantras was on the prowl. Day was approaching, pals were waking up, so it was definitely time to go home. Down below my base, there is also an ore node, so it's nice when there's just Swee and Jolthogs down here, I can safely farm some ore. And I also added the Swede to my team. There are a couple safe ore nodes also near the small settlement, so it's another place that I can go to get my first larger batch of ore without worrying about anything attacking me. Then I get back to my farming routine at base. I'm still only level 11, and if you think about it in the random nature of things, there are still a lot more level 15 and up pals out there right now that could absolutely destroy me, so it's still very dangerous to go out there. I can barely take on level 12 pals, so levels are very important before I feel safe enough going out during the day. Having a good glider, though, is really helpful for getting down to these areas below my base. More Celery spawned in, so I was able to get more watering pals and another level. Now I'm at level 12. When night came around, it was time to go back out on the hunt. I was glad to see some easy to capture Fuax. Waterers isn't a big need right now, but that easy XP is. And then some Rye Bunny and a Mozzarina. It's nice to get one of these early on. I'll be doing cakes as soon as I can for breeding, and buying milk isn't exactly easy to do until I get that gold coin assembly line. My pals were pretty happy, at least it seemed that, but in order to upgrade my base, I needed a pal hot spring. That meant I needed pal fluids, and with no Kelpsies yet, that meant I either had to go out and find more or slaughter my own. Obviously, going out and searching during the day is still too risky, so I really only had one choice at this point. At level 12, I unlocked the grappling gun, and that became my main priority at this stage, but it requires ancient civilization parts. Normally, these are really hard to get early on because you need to defeat an alpha pal, and the alphas are also randomized, so finding one low enough level that you can actually fight can be really hard to do. But lucky for me, in this seed, I have a level 14 Dumod in that starting spot. But it wasn't quite time to go after him. First, I needed better armor, another level, and a better weapon, so I got the crossbow. Then, once nighttime hit, it was time to go out on that hunt. Dinosum is basically my strongest pal at this point. Dumud is not a particularly difficult pal to fight, so I'm not worried about him here, but there is a sleeping Cebelex right next to us. So if she gets hit, it is time to run. I tried to keep Dumud out of her line of sight, and thankfully, nothing nocturnal showed up, so I was able to capture it. I already had the resources for it, so I crafted it immediately, and now I can feel a lot safer about going out during the day. Next on the priority list is an egg incubator. I need to start hatching eggs for XP, but more importantly, for breeding. Since I can't always find the pals I need in the wild, it's a lot easier to just breed the ones you need. First, I needed more ancient technology points to even unlock it though. That meant I was going to have to find another alpha pal to defeat at a low enough level. So I did a little daytime exploring. I took this quiet route along the river near the small settlement, grabbed this free egg, which I'll keep coming back to for more, but then I spotted a Nightwing. Even though I have my grapple and glider, having that flyer is important because it's going to allow me to go over water safely without worrying about drowning, which has happened to me in the past and I'm kind of traumatized by it. So once I saw him, I knew I had to go after it. I followed it around until it was somewhere a little safer. But being out there wasn't a total loss. I remembered these bounties also give ancient tech points for a first kill, and these guys are not random. The level 12 always spawns here, so this is a easily winnable fight for me and an easy way to get the ancient technology points. They don't drop the tech parts though, so I will still need to farm alphas for those. And then while up here, I also freed a Flambell to add to the team. I grabbed those Melpacas too. Like I've mentioned, every single pal that is low enough level is getting captured for XP. I got back to base so I could set up my incubators. I had 5 parts, so I was able to do 2 of them, and then I put in 2 of those wild eggs that I found. These are default egg timers. Small eggs are not bad, but once the big ones come, it's gonna be a nightmare. I had a lot going on at my base, and even though night is extremely valuable for going out and exploring, I had other things I needed to do now. So this was the first night that I actually slept through the night. Also, having the grapple and glider makes me feel safer during the day anyway, so there's that too. Now that I have a full lineup of Cativas, I used their weight boosting partner skill and went out to farm a decent haul of ore. I hatched those eggs. I got a Dumud and Celery. The Dumud is nice because I can put him on the farm for pal oils, but not that exciting because I can just capture that alpha one. I was hoping for something a little better. I'm still spending a good amount of time managing my base pals. I really need to unlock more levels for more workers and more bases, but I'm at a bottleneck again. I need the cooler box, which requires ice organs. I have no ice pals, and you can only buy them at the Dune Shelter. So this time, when night came around, I went to hunt down some ice pals, or at the very least, do some exploring to unlock more fast travels in the world. Again, I'm feeling a little more confident about being out during the day, now that I can grapple and glide my way around. So I did some daytime exploring. I found some Pen King for ice organs, but 2 level 22s is just too much of a fight for me at my level right now. It's not worth the risk. I kept moving on and ran into another Nightwing. I had to be careful of the Free Pal Alliance nearby, but it was still worth the risk. I really need that flyer so that I can travel over water safely. And this time, I actually got him. Now, to make it home safely. Then another egg was ready, and it was a Gale Claw. This one I was happy about, but I still had a ways to go to unlock the gloves for it. Nightwing, on the other hand, I had just gotten to level 15, so perfect timing in finding it. I had to sell some things to get enough gold to buy more leather for the saddle. I haven't been getting very many leather pals, so it's weirdly a big need for me right now. But no major issue. I got what I needed from the market, and then I crafted the saddle. And as slow as this thing is, being able to fly straight up in the air or just hover over water is really, really important to stay alive when things get hectic. Next on the list was more upgrades, better armor, and a better shield. But first, I'll need more ancient civilization parts. So off to buy more leather first, so that I could craft the heat-resistant pelt armor. Only to be reminded that I still get cold at night while wearing this. I had a traumatic experience dying from temperature, so I'll stick to my last armor set until I can get an undershirt, because I'm not letting that happen again. I went out to Gobfin Land, where there are no actual Gobfins in this mode, but instead I finally got a Lamb Ball. From there, I was trying to reach the Dune Shelter in the Northern Desert, so that I can buy those ice organs that I needed to keep leveling up my base. But it is a long trip. I got up to the desert safely, and then I had a very close call. Okay, it looks like we're okay, so I don't think the temperature changes during the day. I hope not. We're gonna go up, though. We want to go up. No! I didn't even see him! Thank God he just has a flamethrower and he can't attack me from range.
Nightwing, please don't attack. Please don't attack. I don't need you to die. All right, this is already going poorly. How did I not see him? Ugh.
But after that, I got to my destination with no more troubles. And now I had access to ice organs and high quality pal oil. I got a few more eggs on that trip up north, so I put them in the incubators, but these were the huge ones, so that incubation time needed a boost. I put down the fire to give me the boost, but it's still gonna be a while. 1 hour in real life, and this time I am not changing my settings, so I have to deal with the brutal times of these large eggs. I'm slowly leveling up. I took on these level 17 serpents down below my base. I'm still one level under this at 16, but these higher level pals are slowly becoming within my grasp. This serpent is a level 2 watering pal, so this was a big upgrade for me. Then I had a raid, which I honestly think this was my first one. If not, I just can't remember or wasn't paying attention. Very unusual for it to take this long for your first raid, but maybe that's just because I have a raid-proof base. Maybe I got a raid earlier and I just didn't even pay attention to it. It even sent unusually low level pals after me for the current level that I'm at, which is another reason I think it's the first one. Anyway, I caught some more easy pals from it. Nothing useful, but the XP is always nice. I set up my expedition station just so I could level up my base. I don't have the pals to run this thing, unfortunately, and I don't even have the things unlocked, but I do need it to level up my base. Then my cooler box so that I could finally get my second base unlocked. For my second base, I needed a spot to get ore, so I built it in this ore-rich area with flat land. Tends to be pretty safe around here without too many pals spawning nearby, but it's not safe like my main base, so I still have to take the time to put up walls. And of course, the basic necessities to keep my pals happy. The next priority is the breeding farm. Since I can't always find the pals, I need to breed them. It's a lot easier to do that, so I'm hyper-focused on leveling to unlock the breeding farm, capturing every low-level pal that I see. And now that I have a Nightwing, it's a lot easier to do this during the day. I don't have to wait till nighttime, but that doesn't mean I can let my guard down. I'm still too low of a level to not be paying attention. Even if one of these non-hostile pals gets hit from the pal that I'm fighting, it could be very bad news. So as simple as this hunt appears, my heart is constantly racing. I'm on full alert because at any moment, things could go really, really bad. Then, after a quick stop back at base to refill my arrows and sears, I continued the hunt at nighttime. And just a little into the next day, I finally got the levels I needed. The huge eggs I got were ready to be hatched. I got an Eliza bee and a Lovander. The Eliza bee was huge. The number one pal I need for breeding is a bee guard, so that they can give me honey, so I can make cakes. The Eliza bee doesn't drop honey on the farm, but they do drop honey from slaughter. All I need is one cake, and then I can breed a bee guard. So getting that one Eliza bee gives me enough honey to make that one cake. So all that to say, the Eliza bee was very important for me. Before I did all that, though, I continued setting up my breeding farm, which is going to be above my temporary ore farm. And then because I was in the building and in organizing mood, my OCD took over and I had to organize my base. I still had some things to get before I could bake. The wheat, the flour. I had mozzarella, but I needed to wait for the milk, and so on. I bought more things to speed up that process. Then I slaughtered the Eliza bee to get 5 honey, which is actually enough for 2 cakes. I put my tansy and milpaca together to get my very first bee guard. Once I have that, I'll be able to breed endlessly, which will make XP farming a lot faster as well. I had a lot of base chores to take care of while I waited, infrastructure stuff to make sure I can pump out those cakes as best as I can. The bee guard is a small egg, so it really doesn't take much time, and I put her on the farm as soon as she was born, along with my cows. I really needed more base pals working, but the next base level up required a fluffy pal bed, which is 5 levels away. That's a lot of grinding for XP, but I don't have much choice. I really need to level up my base so that I can get 3 and eventually 4 bases. But before going into another round of speed leveling, I had way too many short-term needs. lots of farming to be done, and the endless process of organizing my base. And to be honest, I just didn't want to do the XP grind. It's already starting to get tedious, and it gets so much worse. I knew I'd need sulfur soon, so I set out to Mount Obsidian to unlock the fast travel there to get quick and easy sulfur. On the way, I finally saw a kelp seed, and one that I could actually get without anything too hostile nearby. Well, I mean, there is this Warsec Terra Alpha who will rip my face off, but this is about as far as away from anything hostile that I have seen one of these yet. He is headed my way, but this is what desperation leads to. I need one of these. I tried to be quick about it, and I was very lucky that the spawn up this hill was something friendly. Otherwise, this was not happening. But my efforts paid off, and I got him. And on top of all that, it had Artisan, so a nice little bonus. I continued my excursion, grabbing all the fire eggs on the way. Another good reason to come out here, these eggs will be higher level pals compared to the eggs I've been getting near my base. I don't need sulfur just yet, so I ended up going for the Fisherman's Point fast travel, and I plan to come back later when I actually need it to climb Mount Obsidian. The rest of this day I had to reorganize my bases again. It's really frustrating only having two. Since I needed more workers at my main base, I moved the ranch to my breeding/ore base, where there was more available pal slots. A lot of base management when you have limited spaces and only two bases. I hatched a penking from an egg. He immediately went on my team to get some levels because he's essentially my strongest pal. That's another area I need to work on. I don't have that much for combat yet. I was still very reliant on selling pals and items for gold to buy cake ingredients. I didn't have any chickens and I only had a couple cows, but also wheat was very slow. So I took even more time to restructure and organize my base because I have problems, but I just cannot live in the clutter. It took a lot of time too because I am always so indecisive with this. It's these moments where I completely forget that I'm even doing a 100 days challenge and I get totally lost in the sauce. I would make a terrible speedrunner, but it was needed because the egg timer is on default and I'm going to need lots and lots of incubators, which means I'm going to need lots and lots of space for them. I can farm that alpha Dumud over and over for the parts, so that's not an issue, but space is definitely going to be a problem. After getting situated with both of my bases, I had more XP farming to do. This early on, I'm still in need of quite a few upgrades. I have mostly level 1 pals working my base. I'm just starting to get to a high enough level to be able to capture some of those higher level pals that I need, like a better farming pal, Petalia. And by now, this level 14 Dumud takes very little effort, so it's easy to farm over and over for its ancient civilization parts. I'm working towards getting those next two levels to get that fluffy pal bed for the base upgrade, but it's still a little tough to find pals that I can easily capture. It doesn't benefit me to risk going after something high level just yet. It's still a bit too risky, so I have to focus on those lower level pals. So once I could, I upgraded my armor to metal armor. This will help me feel a lot safer, take a lot more hits, and hopefully be able to start taking on some of those higher level pals more comfortably. But I am still shooting arrows, so a better weapon will definitely be next. I finally came across some bee guard out in the wild. Even though I could breed them, cakes are really short-handed right now, so getting more of them in the wild is ideal. But I failed at that. Instead, I figured quickly capturing these Arsocs, just for the XP, and for the first time, I let my guard down while I was out in the wild. And I got a stark reminder of how you always need to pay attention and watch your back at all times. Something hit me. I didn't even think twice. My reflexes kicked in and I was out of there. Only if I had my mic on, you'd hear me scream like a little girl. This was easily the most terrifying moment in this run so far, because I've been super cautious so far up to this point, and I have been paying very close attention to my surroundings, except for now. But when you let your guard down, this is what can happen. I am so fortunate, though, to have just upgraded my metal armor. Otherwise, I'd probably be dead. It would probably be the end of this run if I had not done so. After I sat there for a minute, caught my breath, and collected my thoughts, I continued on my capture spree, but a lot more cautiously. It was maybe just the reminder that I needed, though, that I still am very underpowered and I still have to be very careful. Not much later, I finally got that next level and the fluffy pal bed. Once I upgraded, it was right back to the same thing. Now I needed more levels to unlock the sphere assembly line and power generator, so the XP grind continued. Getting more pals to work my base is always nice, but I've gotten to the point I just need all 4 of my bases unlocked really badly, or at least 3. So the XP grind is already starting to feel super grindy, but it is also completely slowing my progress down elsewhere. I have no choice though. Default settings, 1 times XP, and this is part of the challenge, and it's not being changed. I've got to start breeding more, and that should help with the XP, but first I need to improve my cake baking efficiency, like getting the resources in greater abundance, which really won't be solved until I get a gold coin assembly line. But in the meantime, I need better cookers. The level 2 RSOCs take insanely long to cook 1 cake in the cooking pot. But thanks to breeding, I put my Vampiric Celery and Surfing together, and after waiting an hour for an egg, I got myself a level 3 cooker in Blaze Howl. Unfortunately, he has Muscle Head, which means he'll be better for combat, but that's okay. I need good fighters, and I have another one ready, plus more on the way anyways. Next on the breeding list, Anubis. I need my level 4 working pals, so I put one of my Blaze Howls with Nightwing to get one. I had a decent buildup of eggs from the wild, so while spending even more time organizing my base and doing all that stuff, I hatched a bunch of those eggs. It's a safer and easier way to get XP, but I don't quite have my cakes up and running the way I need to be able to do this exclusively. Eventually, though, that is the goal. Then it was finally time to upgrade my glider. Killamari is my pal of choice because of its combination of speed and airtime. As much as I love Gale Claw, it's a little too hot and fast. I need that extra bit of airtime for safety reasons. I haven't seen one yet, but I am at a point I can breed most lower level pals, so I put Rushor and Cativa together and waited for my small dark egg. There was an Elphadran in my backyard. I haven't seen one of those yet. New pals for XP, as always, but I had other plans for this guy as well. I put him on the breeding farm with Surfant to get Elphadran Aqua. I was in dire need of a level 3 water for crushing stone into Paldium and to keep up with my wheat farm for cakes. I also needed farmers to work the rest of the farm, so I put Rushor and Nightwing together to get more Petalia. My first Anubis hatched and got him working right away. For now, he'll have to double as a miner because I'm still stuck with level 2 miners mostly elsewhere. I came across a Digtoys in the wild, so that will at least help, but breeding for better miners will be an upcoming priority very soon. And on another capture spree, I finally got my hands on some chickens. I've been buying eggs like a madman up to now, so this helps a lot, but it still won't be as much as I need. In fact, all the ingredients I'm still somewhat falling behind on, including wheat, so I ended up expanding my wheat farms a little, and eventually after more XP farming, I got to level 27, so I could upgrade my base once more. The grind continued on as I was slowly working my way up through the levels and leveling my base. I got the assembly line and power generator down for another base upgrade. Just one more and I'll have the max pals of 15, but I'm still really shooting for that 4 bases. I went out on probably my longest consecutive hunt, capturing everything I could. I'm at a level I feel much safer out in the world. With this upgraded armor and better shield, I can take at least 1 hit from pretty much anything. And with the grapple and glide, I should be able to escape fast enough. So it's a lot safer to be out here right now. So XP farming and traveling around during the daytime is becoming more and more common. But I still can't let my guard down. I was able to get one of my favorite pals, Mossanda, and 2 Grisbolts, which are really important for breeding. They have a lot of connectivity to higher level pals, and it was the missing pal that I needed in order to breed my first Yormantide. So after the hunt, I made it back to base and I put Grisbolt and Sweepa together to get that first Yormantide, who I was going to use for level 4 watering. But even more importantly right now, I can combine him with a Blaze Howl to get Yormantide Ignis for a level 4 cooker, and then I can finally get my cakes pumping out as fast as possible. Eventually, I made my way out to Mount Obsidian. I got myself a nice little supply drop, some skill fruits, more eggs, and of course the fast travel near the tower where I can regularly come for sulfur, because it will still be a while before I can unlock that sulfur mine. Then I finally upgraded from the bow. The handgun is a much needed improvement, and I put my Yormantides in the incubator. On day 29, I took a big trip up north, mostly looking to make my way to Sakurajima. The pals are random, but the loot is not. Up here, I can get better eggs and better loot in the wild without facing off against the normally difficult enemies that spawn over here. It's probably something I should have done sooner, but here I am now to get some top tier items for free. I'm also on the hunt for more alphas. I'm going to need more ancient tech points, and I'd prefer to only fight ones that I'm much higher level than, because it's not worth risking my life for one that is equal level as I am, or one that's higher level and it's overly difficult. So I'm also looking for those. In general, I just need to uncover more of the map, and I have to get more fast travels as well. And then a nice little surprise. I got Demon God on a Serpent. I hatched a Vanworm from a wild egg. This was my first upgraded flyer, but I still didn't really feel compelled to use it. My Nightwing already has levels in it, so it's just safer to use for now, and it's not like it's that much of an upgrade. My eggs were starting to pile up, so I had to do some more ancient tech parts farming from the Alpha Dumud so that I could build more incubators. As soon as my first Yormentides hatched, I put them to work and to breed with Blaze Howl so that I could just start getting a Yormentide Ignis. Then another quick capture spree to work my way up to level 32 so I could get the weapons assembly line built. And then that enabled me to upgrade to level 15. Now I have 15 base pals, the max for default, and 3 bases. I still need one more base unlocked, but that will be a while again before I can unlock that. I'll have to do a lot of grinding to get there. But for now, at least I could get that 3rd base set up. I went to the classic coal and ore spot because it'll be a while before I can get even the coal mine or even the ore mines set up. So this OG spot is still the GOAT before you get those mines unlocked. My Yormentide Ignis eggs were quickly piling up, so even more incubators were needed. I spent way too much time setting up my 3rd base, as I always do. More time spent redistributing pals, honestly. I don't have all top level pals, so I'm taking forever sorting through, looking for the best for the job, and trying to make it balance so I can leave this base and let them do their thing passively without constantly managing it. But I definitely wasted way too much time doing this. I'm attempting to get my Demon God passive onto Anubis to make it easier to transfer over to other pals like Yormentide Ignis, because Anubis is a really good breeding pal because it's connected to a lot. I also started breeding my Gobfins so that I could have what is still the best pal in the game. The plan is a team of at least 4 maxed out Gobfins, maybe 5, and 1 maxed out Fellbat. Seeing as how I need something like 600 plus Gobfins or whatever it is to get them all condensed, I knew I need to get started on that one pretty early. But thankfully I got one with Philanthropist, so that should help speed things up. And also, these are small eggs, thank God, so I don't have to wait 2 hours for each one to hatch. Now that I'm getting a lot more into breeding, my cake needs are a lot more demanding. I'm still having to sell stuff off to get enough coin to buy the cake ingredients. So my next target is the gold coin assembly line, but that is still pretty far away for levels. So I started my very first breeding for XP, Rushor and Joltog to get a Tansy, and this is the beginning of a very, 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 very long process. And I had no idea how brutal it would be at that time. Maybe I was being a little overconfident, but I had high hopes of defeating everything in the game without dying. So very early on, I started the process of building my Yormentide Ignis army. I had Vampiric, and I had Demon God, and I had Diamond Body. And since these eggs take so long, I figured it'd be good to get started on that project. Eventually, I would want to take this Yormentide Ignis army into a raid. And instead of building a bunch of different armies, because it's default settings, 1 breeding, I just figured going with one of the most well-balanced pals in Yormentide Ignis, I could make 1 army and use it to fight against all the raids. But for now, these first few hatchings will help make the breeding process go so much faster because they can cook my cakes a lot faster. I caught some Fellbats, which was nice. That means I could start breeding those. And I'm slowly gaining confidence and getting stronger. But on a night hunt, I had a stark reminder of how I'm still very underpowered.
All right, it's on you, Yormi. It's on you, buddy. Please. We gotta watch out for these Vanworms too. Never mind. Nope. He just got half his health gone. And they're aggroed. Yeah, we're getting out. How did he get over here so fast? Holy crap! Oh my god, and a predator. Holy crap! This is why you don't do shit like that. Yormentide, I don't even care. We're just getting out of here. Oh my god. And then, of course, I run into that freaking predator pal. Woo! Heart is racing once again. Yormentide, come back here. We didn't even lose you. That's surprising. Okay, that was dumb. And why did he even wake up? Well, I guess it's daytime.
I spent a little time uncovering a little more of the map, searching for those alpha pals, but not a whole lot of exploration here. I was at a point I could really start ramping up breeding for XP, and it was pretty apparent just from the last trip out and about that I needed to get to it. It's taking too long to fly around and search for pals within a capturable level. My level is still too low to be able to freely go after anything, so breeding is really the only way right now to do things efficiently, at least. And setting up more incubators meant I needed more ancient civilization parts, so I went back to that do mud again repeatedly, and also went after a couple other alpha pals as well. I was still 7 levels away from the electric kitchen, which will also help a lot with speed and cooking those cakes faster. I spent a good amount of time just managing my bases, but I finally got myself a better flyer. Beacon wasn't just needed for me though, I also needed one to get a Knocklum. I'm desperate for better miners, so after I got it, I immediately put it on the farm with Yormantide to get some Knocklum eggs. On day 36, my mass breeding officially begins. I had a whole lot of base stuff to take care of as normal, squeezed in there. And on a hunting trip out to Sakurajima, which continued to be my best spot to hunt things, I caught my first pangolin, which is kind of crazy that I don't even get one until level 35. Not that I needed it anymore for anything specific, but that just goes to show the nature of random mode. I had to go on another capture spree, even though I started breeding. I thought the breeding at this point would get the job done, but I had the realization that I'm going to have to do both simultaneously. And then finally, the time has come to go after the first boss. Yes, the very first one, which is usually the one you go after in the tutorial. I think I legitimately could have done this with my eyes closed at this point, so I wasn't worried at all. The only reason I did wait this long though is because there was really no immediate need to do this fight. The main thing that I wanted to unlock is the ore mining site, which you get from the second boss, and I definitely am not quite ready for that one. So I just waited to be extra leveled up just to make sure nothing goes wrong, because let me tell you, in hardcore mode, as soon as you think you're safe and you make some dumb mistake, you die and it's all over. So I wanted to make sure to wait until the last possible minute to do this. And then immediately after, I regretted not doing it sooner because I completely forgot that you get those ancient tech points, and those could have come in handy earlier. And then I had to go back to breeding to swap out that next set of XP breeders, going down the list one by one. And in conjunction with that, another mini capture spree while I waited for those breeders. On day 38, my first Knocklums finished, which are going to help move things along a lot better. And as part of what is basically my daily routine, I did another capture spree. And now that I had those Knocklums, I needed a place to put them, so it was time to do the second tower boss in order to unlock the ore mine. After hatching that Pyron not that long ago, I had been keeping it on my player to level it up, but level 22 is still a bit under-leveled. However, I love how fast this thing moves, and I'm using it to give me that fire damage boost against this grass-type Lylene. This fight shouldn't be too tough. It's not normally that difficult, but it's once again one of those situations where I just don't want to take any chances. So I ended up just kind of letting my fire pals do the work, even though I definitely could have contributed. I just wanted to sit back and wait and watch this fight happen while I stayed safely in the distance like a coward. Because like I said, one stupid mistake and it's all over. And I make a lot of stupid mistakes, so this fight isn't without my heart racing, even though it looks pretty chill. And then once it was over, I finally had that ore mining site 2 unlocked. After that, in order to speed up the whole breeding process, I was going to need more incubators, so I went on an alpha pal capture spree so that I could butcher them later and get those double ancient tech parts, only to be realized that I still am pretty underleveled. After getting humbled by this Broncherry Aqua, I took a step back and realized that I need to continue focusing on leveling and powering up before I let loose out in the world and get myself killed. On day 40, I started transferring my incubators to my second base and started hatching Gobfins and some of those XP pals. And then I started slaughtering my alpha pals to get those tech points that I was trying to do earlier. I did some base expansion to make room for my ore mining site, and I basically turned that base into a full-on mining/production base. And I added in another capture spree. I was still bottlenecked by not having enough gold. Sakurajima continued to be my location of choice for capturing pals. The flat land, the good loot, both things that made it great spots to do my capture farming. And at one point, I finally got a decent weapon, the level 3 rocket launcher. Again, thanks to Sakurajima farming. Now that I had my ore mines up, there wasn't a whole lot of things that I needed. Everything I had was automated, and my level 4 worker pals were keeping me supplied with most things, while I was focused on the XP grind. The only thing I had to occasionally go out and get was quartz, but I don't need a whole lot of that just yet. It's just getting enough for those initial assembly lines and electronic structures set up. All that stuff I did while waiting for more eggs to hatch. Since I didn't have the gold assembly line quite yet, I still just sold all those extra pals that I was breeding off to keep my cake ingredients flowing. I did go after a few of the alpha pals, only ones though that I was much stronger. There's still plenty out here that will send me back to the start screen, so just playing it safe by going after the easy targets. I wasn't really in need of the ancient civilization parts, but since I was getting the sellable parts from them as well, I did a few of them here and there to help boost my gold collection so that I could turn it around and spend it right back on cake ingredients. And then I finally got my gold assembly line set up. That took me about 6 real-life hours to get those last 10 levels that I needed, which is crazy. And it gets a whole lot worse. But now that I had it, I could speed up that cake production and therefore breeding, so I got that set up right away. Also, by now, having those 10 extra levels meant I was able to capture more higher level pals. So you'd think the XP gains would speed up, but that's just not how it works. Since the XP numbers go up by so much, and since the later eggs take so long to hatch, my pace slowed down even more. I took breaks occasionally from capturing pals. It got so incredibly tiring and tedious and boring. Sometimes I would just hang out at my base and optimize things, organize things, and sometimes I would literally just stand around because it was brutal. But I was adamant about not going AFK because I really wanted to see how much time this whole process actually took. And I was already starting to regret that. Once I did get to level 49/50 range, I pulled back a little on the XP because I wanted to start getting my Gobfin and Yormertide Ignis army going. But that's only because I didn't realize how much worse the XP grind gets. If I had known that now, I would have stayed 100% focused on XP breeding and just tried to get it out of the way. Periodically, I would take the time to add more incubators. So every once in a while, I'd do an alpha pal run, then go through all my alpha pals that I had bred, and that lent me plenty of ancient civilization parts for those incubators. Having enough space was actually my biggest problem, and I didn't really want to take the time to build my base bigger because the eggs are so heavy. I figured it would be annoying trying to haul them up and down to more incubators on different levels. I also started my skill fruit tree farm to get myself Airblade and Holy Burst, which I was intending to use for my Yormertide Ignis army when I eventually take on a raid, whenever that might be. I still have a long way to go to get there, but the breeding takes so long that it's a project I wanted to start early on. My routine was set up the breeding farm, capture pals, pick up stuff from my base, farm some quartz and sulfur when needed. The sulfur I needed more and more now that I had rockets, but besides that, not a whole lot changed. I moved my mining base to Sakurajima so I could get that automated sulfur and the oil that I needed for plasteel. I was working towards the 4th base ASAP so that I could further increase my breeding numbers. So after that 6-hour grind to get those 10 levels up to the gold coin assembly, the next 4 hours or so, I only got 1 level. That was because I swapped all my XP breeders out for Yormertide Ignis and Gopfins, and that was a mistake. Somewhere along the way, I once again got overconfident, and I thought that I would be able to squeeze in a raid fight in these 100 days. So I put a lot of emphasis on building my raid army. But even after 6 hours of straight XP grind, it didn't click in my brain how much worse it was gonna get. So I wasted a ton of time trying to build this raid army when I should have just continued going hard on the XP breeding. Especially because capturing pals in the wild for XP was wearing thin. I had already capped a good number at 12, so I'd have to fly around a lot just to get a little, which is very inefficient. It didn't make sense to fly around for 30 minutes and only capture 4 or 5 pals, because that's all that I could find. But now that I had a rocket launcher, I could kill higher level pals, and that works as a nice XP boost as well. Shooting a level 55 Gildane is a lot more efficient than wasting 20 spheres trying to capture one. The few Yormatides I did breed though started to get some of those combined passives together, but that project had to be put on hold. I made one trip to the easy oil rig so that I could get a small amount of oil so that I could level up my base, but eventually I got there. And I set that 4th base up immediately so that I could double my XP breeding output. And I was completely over it at this point. Like, kind of made me want to stop playing Palworld. Little did I know I was getting into the worst part of it. Those last 9 levels. Eventually I got all my bases set up. And once I had my next base set up, I had another round of alpha farming to get those civilization parts for as many incubators that I could craft. And I was starting to need more and more incubators because I was getting into pretty much only hatching larger eggs. And since they have to stay in there longer, the turnover is a lot slower. So having more incubators is going to help. Now that I had 2 bases going for breeding, I had even less time to do other things. But that's okay because I pretty much stopped going out to capture things at this point. It was just way too inefficient now. I was just about making sure my Knocklims kept up with the ore mining, transferring that over to my main base, smelting the ore, then crafting gold and buying ingredients, then cooking cakes. It was that over and over and over until eggs were ready to hatch, which also takes a lot of time, swapping out pals and putting in new cakes. This process was literally all I did for hours and hours. I did have my Goffins going at my second base for a little while, mostly because I was running out of incubators because of those large eggs, but I built a nice stash before swapping back over to XP breeding. Then as I got closer to level 55, I started going back out for more capturing. Now that I could easily make the legendary spheres, and I was a higher level, it wasn't such a waste or so inefficient. So I mixed some more capturing back into the mix as well. But the grind was still absolutely brutal and painful and taking forever. Just to break up the monotony of things and try to do something different, I made a trip over to Faybreak to unlock the tower so that I could eventually just fast travel over there when it's time to fight that boss. Also wanted to look for a little bit of loot. Nothing overly exciting happened over here, but in hardcore mode, that's usually a good thing. Then went back to more breeding. I finally got myself to level 56. After a lot of Goblin breeding and time-consuming hatching, I had at least 5 with the Vanguard and Stronghold Strategist skills, so I finally was able to start condensing them. But I still needed quite a few more for that total 600 plus or whatever it is that I needed to condense all of them. And because the XP grind was as brutal as ever, I didn't max out my farms with Goblins. I was quickly running out of pals to breed though. I was getting so desperate too, because all the eggs were taking so long. I did everything I could, including more exploring for that easy XP from discovering a new area, which gives a nice boost in XP, but there's only so many areas that I can discover. Eventually I made the swap to Flaris Aqua as my main flyer. Not a whole lot else went on in terms of changes. Very repetitive, still grinding that XP. Besides these Goffins, I also started to work a little more on my Felbats. I wanted one fully condensed one that also had Stronghold and Vanguard to replace a Goblin in situations. Pretty much the only other excitement I had this whole time was capturing a Saline with remarkable craftsmanship. Now that I was pretty much only breeding things that had really long egg times, I ended up spending a little more time trying to capture for XP again. Plus, I didn't really have anything else to do anymore while waiting for those large eggs. Also, I was more and more focused on Goblin and Felbat breeding, so that took away a few of my breeding farms for XP space. Saline continued to provide the only form of excitement. After I tried capturing another one, she almost took down my Flaris Aqua, which was my only one. Not much of a concern for me, but still, in these times, I'm almost looking forward to a death, just because that would actually bring some excitement in my boring XP grinding life. I feel like I'm in prison. But I was so close. Level 59. Still, that last level took some time. I had a ton of eggs waiting to be hatched. And finally, after 46 hours of my life, I reached level 60. If I haven't made it clear yet, this was stupid grindy. I'm all for a good grind, but this was next level. No pun intended. Something I definitely will not be doing again. I'm happy I made it to level 60 once on 1x with no cheesing in 100 days, but that's hardly a goal. I got a lot of other things that I want to do. It was probably a long time ago, though, that I realized I wouldn't have enough time to do a raid boss, but it wasn't until recently that I fully accepted that. Toward the end of my brutal XP grind, when I realized I also have to do this grind to level up my pals, the idea of trying to level up 15 plus Yormantides for a raid army sent me running for the hills. I didn't want to do it, and I definitely wouldn't have time, even if I did want to do it. So I had to accept the truth that a raid was not a possibility within these 100 days. But my goals stretched further than this 100 days. I wanted to do everything regardless of how long it takes, as long as I don't die, of course. So I continued to plan for the future, but my immediate goals of taking down the tower bosses were still within reach. I had a little bit of time to do it, and I was going to put all my effort into completing it in that time frame. I still had Felbats and Godfins to breed, so the breeding didn't stop after I got those levels. It didn't even really slow down. Hatching still takes forever, and there's a lot to hatch. But slowly I started condensing my Godfins. My Godfins were almost fully condensed at one point, and my Felbat was on its way. I finally made my way to that next tower boss. Another very, very long overdue fight. But again, no real immediate need for it, so I was in no rush. My initial plan was to be overpowered as possible going into all these fights because I just do not want to die. I do not want to risk it. And the only reason that I did the other ones was to unlock the ore mine, so I just held off on this one. And at level 60, this boss should be no challenge.
13,000 damage. This should be nice and easy, just like we like it to be. Probably would have been nice to... Oh, okay, that hurts a little bit. Yeah, he just doesn't do that much damage to me, so I'll be fine. This is all thanks to my Godfins. My Felbat also has Vanguard and Stronghold, but obviously Godfin's passive ability is just so powerful. Ooh, 19,000. You love seeing those big numbers. And I used way fewer rockets than I thought I was, so that's really, really nice. I thought I was going to burn through a whole bunch more. There we go, boss number 3 done. Could have done that a long time ago, but I was so focused on getting to level 60 that I didn't.
Then right on to the next one.
All right, not as much damage. That's okay. Should be able to do this still. This one might actually have to... Oh, we don't want to do that. Might have to actually dodge a little on this one, though. Which we should be able to do just fine. If I pay attention, I should be able to dodge the moves. I'm not 100% familiar with them, but hopefully my reaction time is good enough right now. Oh, no! Okay, not when you get... Yeah, not when you run into a wall, though. Okay, we don't want to miss our shots, though. It's such a waste. It takes so long to reload. It's such a waste. Oh, we don't like this one. We don't like this one. Yeah, that attack we want to not get hit by. Good pace. Haven't lost any health yet. Shield is not recharging, though. As long as I just don't get hit, I should be fine. Ooh. Okay, there we go. That's fine. My shield got back. We're all right. Let's just try to be careful here because I have no shield. I don't want to start taking a ton of damage. Like that. Okay, so let me be careful. I'm going to try to get my shield back. And try to avoid this move. Just trying to be safe here. I'm close, but I don't want to rush into... Okay, there we go. Shield's coming back. I don't want to just try to force... or hurry it up at the end and then just take a bunch of like random hits and get hit by his special move or whatever. Because he can really quickly do a lot of damage. So you still want to be careful, especially when you have no shield. Oh, not the weapon we want to use. want to avoid this. Ugh, okay. We should be safe. Alright, let's get this one last one in. Okay. Alright, I didn't take a ton of damage, but it still had me going. It still had me a little nervous there.
Saya and Saline always gives me trouble, so I wanted to upgrade my Felbat and see if I could get myself some upgraded weapons or armor for the next fight. I have not made it to the level 55 oil rig yet. I have purposefully been avoiding it because it brought my last hardcore run to a screeching halt after 40 hours. And the way it happened, oof, it was rough. I wasn't going to let that happen again though, so I was waiting until I was as literally strong as I could possibly be at level 60 before doing this. And since I don't have the confidence or a Jetragon to fly over there, I traveled there the slow way. I climbed aboard and I rocketed my way through it. At my level and with rockets, it's really not that difficult, but that doesn't mean I don't have to be careful. Like I said, I made a mistake last time and all things went to hell. Well, I made it. Day 100. No deaths. I did it. Even though that wasn't my main goal, after what I've been through in previous attempts in this mode, it sure feels like one hell of an accomplishment to me. I was hardly let down that I didn't finish the boss fights in this 100 days time frame. I'm just glad to be alive. Ever since I accepted the fact that I wouldn't have time to do a raid, a small part of me kind of stopped rushing to get to these towers as well. The XP grind completely took the wind out of my sails. The motivation to go at a fast pace went out the window. Instead, I just wanted to stay alive so that I could go well past the 100 days marker, and here I am. So my initial goals of defeating the towers in 100 days has failed. But I'm still alive, and that's what's most important. I'll keep this train rolling until that first death, and I'll try to conquer everything in this world, including the alien god himself, Xenoloord. Before I get too ahead of myself though, I still have 2 tower bosses to take down, and Saya and Saline always gives me trouble. I knew I'd have to prep a little bit more for this fight. Felbat is my go-to pal for this. Saline hits so hard, her moves destroy your health, so either you have to be really good at dodging the attacks, or bring something to support that. Felbat's healing ability is exactly what I need to feel safe enough to do this fight. I don't think I've ever done this fight without dying at least once, so I'm pretty nervous about it. Now that I wasn't rushed to do things in a specific time frame, I added a few more projects into the mix, mostly because I was still a little unsure of what strategy to go into the Bastigor fight with. I thought about maybe using a Pyren, so I spent a lot of time breeding those, like unnecessarily a lot. I worked on my Gale Claws a bit too, thinking it might be a good strategy to use that in the tower for mobility. I still really like Killamari for safety reasons out in the open world, but a Gale Claw might prove more useful in fights because of its speed, so I worked on that for a bit, just to have options. But I was essentially preparing for a couple different strategies that I could use because, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to go in with. I also had the much more relaxing grind of farming quartz compared to the stressful grind of farming XP. Since I had all the levels unlocked, I did some Hexalite farming as well so that I could at least upgrade my armor to the best one available. No way I was going to be going into the Bastigor fight without the max armor. And I figured I might as well get it for Saline too, since I'm no longer in a rush. And as great as the grapple and glide for moving around is, it still helps to have the legendary Celestial Dragon for moving around. So I finally got myself a Jetragon. I had to find the 3rd bounty token for the Bastigor fight to unlock it. This was annoying, but part of the reason that I got Jetragon was to make this easier searching for it. Eventually, I found it over on Faybreak. Goblins don't need to be leveled up because they stay in my party, but the Felbat that I have needed to be leveled. So my go-to leveling for pals has always been the oil rig, and just in my 2nd trip over there, I came across a very, very nice surprise. Oh my god. Oh my god. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. I didn't even have my mic on. I just did a run of the oil rig. And okay, let me finish clearing out these guys. I'm standing here. I just had to turn the audio on real quick because I just got something really, really nice. Okay, now hopefully nobody else is coming after me. I just got a level 3 multi-guided missile launcher. This is my 2nd time over here. My 2nd time. I just came over here real quick to level up Felbat because I was hoping to start the next episode that I do. So I was going to get her level 55 so that I could just kind of go right into the next fight. But I came over here to level her up. And I cannot believe this. I was hopeful, but I never imagined that I'd get a level 3. Obviously, that's the second best one, like the legendary, but I don't even have the legendary in my main save. So this is insane. On my second trip over here. Okay, I got to stop being excited and just go home before I die. The level grind started to haunt me again. Felbat was taking longer than I had hoped. I even used some XP scrolls, but they barely help. It's silly that I ever thought I'd be able to level up 15 pals for a raid fight in 100 days. This leveling grind on 1x is just too much. I sunk into a pretty normal routine, progressing things and upgrading my production, being pretty casual about everything since I was no longer in a rush. I got my oil situated, which was annoying because I got a kind of a late start on it, but I needed it for all these Hexalite armor upgrades that I was trying to do before these towers, and I needed it for my multi-guided missile launcher as well, which I ended up deciding was too expensive for me. I made a couple more trips to the oil rig to keep getting Felbat leveled. Eventually, I did get the level 1 or level 0 or that first tier multi-guided missile launcher, and I honestly couldn't believe how lucky I was getting with these schematics between getting the level 3 and then this one just a couple runs later. I ended up crafting a couple of those ones though instead because they were so much cheaper, and I figured that it would be better to have 2 or 3 equipped so that I could weapon swap and rocket spam. That's the most effective way to use Felbat. And at this point I was just so over grinding things, I just wanted to get these fights done. And then the final preparation I did was some more breeding. At last, the final bits of 1x breeding. I had to make some Mammarist for Mammarist curry, and then more Anubis for those souls that I could pump into my Felbat. And finally, 15 days later, or about 7 more hours of prep time, I was finally ready for the saline fight. That did a lot of damage. I'm not getting my reloads in. Alright, it took me a second, but I think I'm starting to get my groove in. I was a little nervous at the start there, so I wasn't really focused or paying attention. But my reload time was off, and it still is, actually. I'm still so used to the... Oh, that was close. I'm still so used to the regular one's reload time. So my timing isn't good on this one yet, but we should be fine. Felbat's actually doing a lot of damage. I'm surprised by this. I wasn't expecting her to do really much at all, but she is crushing it. Gosh, that curtain splash is just so good. I love that move. I've died to it many a times, though. And this one. But that's not going to happen this time. I haven't even really been paying attention to her health, but it is going down so fast. Felbat is doing so much more damage than I expected. Holy crap. Impressive. Just dodge this, and then we can get our last volley of rockets. See, I still can't get the reload time down. I'm going to have to figure that out for the next fight, because... Oh, yeah, see, she did it for me. That was actually shocking how much damage she did. I was not expecting her to be that good. It felt really good to get that one out of the way. I was pretty nervous going into that, and even for a while at the beginning of that fight. I wasn't expecting Felbat, though, to do so much damage. She was only there to keep me alive, but that high DPS she was doing definitely helped make the fight go faster. However, she is only level 59 because that was a level 55 fight. And for Basigor, who is level 60, I will need to level her up once more, because she'll be significantly less effective if she's one level lower than the boss, so leveling her up is a must. So back to the oil rig for one more round of final leveling, then a few more souls to make sure that she is fully strong enough. And on day 117, I finally got to my final objective.
Not doing as much damage as I was hoping, but I should, as long as I can keep dodging his moves. Haven't had to use Fellbat yet, but still. Yeah, get that Holy Burst in there, Fellbat. Yes. Oh, that's not that great. That wasn't that great. But yes, at least he will attack her. That's good. Take the pressure off me a little bit. Just a few moments to breathe. It helps a lot. Okay, now we just gotta watch it because we don't got a shield. Ooh, I hate that move. Okay, not good, not good, not good. Don't like being frozen. Yeah, really bad. All right, we gotta heal. We gotta heal. So when we gotta take our time and just try to heal, not take any more attacks. All right, attack Fellbat, please. Good. That's what we like. Get those heals in there. I can get a little more aggressive once I get healed back up. But he's starting to do double attacks now, so I just gotta be careful. Fellbat's hanging in there. She's doing all right. Get some distance. My shield has come back too. That's nice. Let's get out of here. Forgot I had my grappling hooks. I still want to use those. He's giving me a little curtain splash. All right, shield is down. Pay attention. Ooh, okay. Oh, we're fine, we're fine, we're fine. Not fine, not fine. Oh, we're gonna get those heals back. Oh, he's got wall splash on me. All right, we're back to full health. Good. Ooh, that was close. That would have done a big chunk of damage. Let's hide here. Oh, crap. All right, we're all right, all right. Didn't do too much. We can get our health back on this one. Yep, okay, we're good, we're good. Let's get out of here. Patience, just want to dodge these and then we can get our shots off again. Actually, we want to get our distance first here. Let's clear some space. Get to safety. We got our shield back, so we're okay. We can be a little more aggressive. We got plenty of time, plenty of ammo. We're okay. I just want to stay focused here. I don't want to get too aggressive. I don't need to. Don't rush this. Everything is going smooth so far. Let's not make any mistakes here. Fellbat is half health, but she should be okay. She can heal up. This is the lowest her health has been so far. Oh yeah. Get that curtain splash in there. Get those heals, girl. Actually, she's Dracula. It's a boy. Felbat is always a girl to me, though. Oh, get out of here. Ooh, okay, that was close. That was close. That was close. That one would hurt. We're getting it done. We're getting this done. Oh, that's okay. We're okay. Just as I say we're getting this done, he would get an attack off on me. All right, I gotta focus here. It's not over yet. I gotta get heals. Good. So focused right now. Crap, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. No. Oh, that was close again. Okay, we got this. Let's go, we got it. Oh my God, woo. I'm a little sweaty right now. Let's go. Oh man, I did it. Oh my God. It wasn't that bad, it's just like, that the possibility of death hanging over your head is just always just makes it so much more intense. Like as soon as my shield goes down, I get scared. As soon as I get half health, like I'm full-fledged panic attack. Exactly why I use Felbat, because you just can't get heals like that without her. So if I take those kind of hits without a Felbat, I'm pretty much screwed. She is like the savior. One of my favorite pals for sure, but oh, I'm so happy that I got it done. As I stood atop the tower and looked over the Palpagos Islands, I had a very real sense of accomplishment. If you didn't get a chance to experience my previous runs in this mode, I do have a 100 days of attempts on my channel, but spoilers, I did not make it. It was so incredibly frustrating how it all ended as well. I dumped well over 100 hours into this mode, attempting to make it this far, and the saline fight was as far as I had made it in the past, so that's why I was so nervous going into those. I didn't want to lose it all again and have to start all the way over. So when I finally overcame those normally not that difficult fights in Saline and Basticor, I was incredibly relieved and happy to have finally made it past the towers in Hardcore Random mode. And while I didn't finish it all in 100 days, none of that took away from my feeling of accomplishment. It was strictly that XP grind that slowed things down. And if I did it again, I would up the XP to at least 3 times. There's a challenge to having 1 times XP. Being low level is dangerous in random mode. So when it takes you longer to level up, that's more time where you could potentially die. So it forces you to be way more strategic early on. But once you get to level 45 or 50, you kind of lose that challenge. You're strong enough to survive hits from the stronger pals. So to me, at that point, it kind of just becomes grindy for grindy's sake, and the challenging aspect of the 1 times really drops off. Ultimately though, I didn't really care about the 100 days because I have a much larger goal of defeating everything in Palworld without dying, no matter how long it takes. So as long as I'm still alive, that's all that matters. I'll continue trying to conquer this world and everything it throws my way with my 1 life. I appreciate you coming along this journey with me, and if you want to see the next chapter as I go after a raid boss, make sure to like, subscribe, because this hardcore journey is just getting started. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.